How's it going this morning, Abe?
It's going quite badly.
Yes.
It's Monday. It's already 9 o'clock. Haven't turned over. Glass is the wrong size for the door. Second unit, I went to look at it, and the shot of Richie hanging from the window can't be as wide as I thought it could be, so it's not as good. Apart from that, I'm quite happy, because I'm on chemicals.
So, the last tour we did at Bottom, we've done 3 Bottom tours now, Bottom 1, Bottom 2, and Hooligan's Island. The third one was, the set was so fantastic and complicated, all on South Sea Island, that we couldn't do one-nighters like we normally do. And also Bottom was becoming quite popular by then. So we were doing a week in each set, like a week in Manchester, a week in Glasgow, a week in Nottingham, whatever. And so we had nothing to do during the day. And because we were good boys and we had a lot of lines to say at night, we didn't sort of party all day and then go on stage. Like when we were young men, we used to do that a little more. Now we're fatty oldies. We can't do that anymore. So we've just been good, sitting around the hotel, and then we got a bit bored, so we sit around the hotel a bit more.
I think everyone knows the kind of hotel. I mean, the English country hotel is a sort of disease that's spread amongst us the last 25 years.
And then we sit around the hotel so much, even though they were nice hotels, we thought, God, it'd be funny if Richie and Eddie were running the hotel, wouldn't it?
We generally try and think of situations that are indoors, because we find our characters are, they're not unreal, and they're not real. Hyper-real is a word that someone's used, but whatever they are, they work better and people believe them more if they're in their own world. So we tried to think, well, it'd be really nice to do some jokes without hundreds of people there.
So we started writing it, and it just seemed to blossom. More and more and more ideas came. And we finally finished. We thought, God, this is a good idea. So we went to Phil McIntyre, who was our live tour producer, and he said, yeah, go on then, make it into a film then. So we thought, that's a good idea.
Films are difficult. They cost millions to make, millions to market, and it's a difficult decision. It's a real gamble.
So we wrote, it seemed to blossom with ideas. More and more and more ideas came. So we did a timed read-through together. We put a watch on it to see how much we'd written. And it came out as a timed reading at 3 3/4 hours long, which is too long for a film. So we then did a rewrite to kind of cut it down to just the best gags. And we did another timed reading of that, and it was 2.5 hours. And the film has to be about an hour and a half, 90 minutes. So we then had to lose another hour of it. And we were just about to do that when I fell off my bike and banged my head, and I was in hospital unconscious. And so we had to wait a little bit, because we'd just about done a deal to make it then.
Nobody really wanted to make it. Unless you can put yourself in Rick and A's position, you don't really get it. And they didn't really get it.
When I was recuperating, Aid came out to see me, and he said, let's do another rewrite, because he knew I wasn't capable of very much, except being stupid. And so Aid was left on his own to do the last rewrite, to get it down to 90 minutes. So he did that on his own, which coincidentally was the moment that we hit on the idea that he should be the director.
We had this sort of grand thought in our head that it would be like a laboratory, you know, and that every day we'd come in, because we used to hear those things about Charlie Chaplin where he'd turn up in the morning and say, right, and he'd have his whole crew there and say, right, what should we do today? Let's think of a joke. I know, I'll lie down in front of a train. So, right, get a train. And apparently that's true. He would do things like that. And we thought, well, it'd be nice to have that kind of freedom.
The whole hotel has got little, in between all the walls, there's little kind of crawlways like down here. Which looks a bit like the Escape from Colditz. It was designed by my great uncle, Uncle Gervais, Richard's great uncle, and so these still exist. So Richard can crawl around, opening little doorways, having a little look, and having a little perv at people who are getting sexy.
I mean, that was a prosthetic piece. It was just a kind of guard, really, and it works so amazingly well, I think. You know, I mean, it looks like a candle goes in his eye. That's what the joke is, you know, and that's sort of achieved. So it's a very cheap budget. It's £3 and a bit million to make a film is not a lot compared to, you know, what a lot of big effects movies are made with, and prosthetics are definitely cheaper. And I think for our purposes better, because computer graphics, all you're doing is actually getting someone to draw it. I mean, it's called computer graphics, but it's just drawing, really. It's a two-dimensional image that someone draws with a mouse instead of a pencil, and it's a lot harder to keep control of that and actually to make it funny.
Candle in the eye! Oh, candle in the eye! Candle in the eye! Candle in the eye! Excellent. Candle in the eye! Candle in the eye!
Okay, cut. I didn't have a stunt double. Did Aid have... Yes, he did have a stunt double. And, well, Aid's the director. He didn't want to have a stunt double for me. He said it was too kind of puffy and girly. And...
It looks simple enough, but it's quite difficult. The difficult bit is getting exactly what the director wants. So. And I have to just keep doing it until we get what he wants.
Do all my own stunts.
Oh, yes, I never use a stuntman. All the stuntmen here today, dressed up as me, are just good friends from my fan club. No! No!
We pride ourselves on being able to hit each other quite amusingly. And we think we've got to the forefront of hitting each other quite amusingly as a career.
I've been fighting all morning for your pleasure. Don't worry, children at home. It was Adrian who was getting the beating, not me. I was doing the beating. Remember, if you try it at home, don't do it on yourself. Do it to your little brother or sister.
It's not now Zwicke. It's not now Zwicke.
That's all you have to say. I mean, the sound man put it... I said, excuse me one moment, the sound man put it on the tape recorder backwards, and you just let it phonetically.
It's not now Zwicke. I wonder what it'll look like.
Right, so let's do one with a roll V2 on it.
Have we got a facility to play it backwards?
Yes, we have, yeah.
Excuse me one moment.
It's so simple. A lot of people would have spent £500,000 drawing it, you know, and it would look different. It would definitely look different, but I can't imagine that it would have any more or less impact.
That door will suddenly open, lighting us. But as we come down there, the lights will snap off.
Yes.
While you stay there, I'll just show you what the action will be. This whole tape. Both of us come back here. Kids can't die in films, can they? No, but they can be very ill. We see her go back in. We move forward, turn the light on. So now, right, this is the time, come on. We come down here. We reach here. The lights snap off.
No, I've always wanted to direct and have directed things in the past. And this one sort of fell into my lap, really. I mean, I kind of pushed it into my lap.
Well, I have to say he's my best friend. Otherwise he'd kick my teeth in.
And then I don't put my 2 pennyworth in with Aid, because he'll just shout at me.
Aid knows very well what he wants. That's very good for me. It's my first movie, so I'm a bit, you know. But he knows exactly what he wants, and he's very calm. I think he's good. He's got an eye on everything.
Because when you write a thing, it's just a code for some kind of joke that you've got in your head, and you can see it in your head. If you talk to the designer, you talk to the cameraman, and you talk to yourself, and I'm very easy to argue with, it's just it's actually really so much easier.
He's the human being on the planet who I fear most, I dislike the most. He is without doubt the most violent, unpleasant human being on the planet, and any other animal.
I think there's a great sense of respect for Ray, you know, on the set. He's everyone wants to do well for him, which is really, really good, and he gets things done. If he wants something done, people are very, you know, keen to make sure that happens. So, yeah, he's great because he combines amiability with tyranny.
Director's the sort of the top of a kind of pyramid of people, and it's eventually his taste. So obviously there's some totalitarianism in it, but at least in a totalitarian state you know where you are.
I could barely breathe in the same country as him. The hate I have from him is so intense that I can live no other way than living close at hand, waiting for the opportunity for an accident to happen, so that he dies.
I think
Don't you trouble yourself, Mrs. Foxman. I'll get him to come right up to your room and give you a good, thorough seeing to.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful because they are so brilliant, and you know, it's the quickness of the mind.
No, he's a darling. No one understands me as much as Aid. He's been my best friend since 1975. 25 years. This is our kind of 25th anniversary film.
I first met Rick. He was getting off a bus in front of me at Manchester University, and we'd both just arrived there at in the same term, in the same department. He got off the bus in front of me with his very long hair and a number 6 cigarette. I thought, what a tosser. And 25 years later, I've been proved completely right.
I didn't know what to expect, really. It's just that Aid, he has hobbies such as doing complicated mechanical things. He just likes messing about with engines and stuff like that, whereas I've always been the kind of shouty, lardy one. And he goes, oh, darling, oh, yes, that's me. And he's the kind of the husband of the relationship, as it were. So he likes the detail. He should have, if he'd been born a generation before, when Operation Barbarossa was the Nazi invasion of Russia, which, yes, they were very strict people, the Nazis, it's true, but it fell apart through lack of strict organisation, which is why it would have been a success. If Aid had been von Paulus at Stalingrad, they would have won that battle, because nothing goes wrong under Eddie. It's held in such a tight, practical Nazi grip.
Rick was unable to learn his words properly, so a little correction was in order.
There's not going to be a mistake. People are shot as examples, yes, taken out and made to dig their own ditch and then shot in the back of the head. It just keeps people on their toes, keeps the happy crew going. Anyone who's not happy gets castrated.
One cannot make a film without discipline.
Well, everybody's got a car except the producer. Not only do you have to defer your fees, but you have to come on your bike as well. Brilliant.
I always insist on little horse continue straight after lunch.
It's a little-known fact that my dear best friend Adrian is sunbathing over there, and I've just written a very good scene where he gets run over, which means that at last I've managed to kill the director.
We had the idea before Star Wars, but we didn't have enough red felt tip pen to fill in the bits.
But luckily, I had the fabulously beautiful, the most beautiful woman in Europe, apart from Barbara Mayle, and Rosie Mayle, and Bonnie Mayle. So she's the 4th most beautiful woman in Europe. Hélène Mathieu.
They're a bit odd, they're a bit, different, but they're so helpful and charming to her. They're sweet, really. And I think they're mad.
C'est les bollocks.
C'est les bollocks.
Montrez-moi les bollocks.
C'est les bollocks or c'est bollocks? It's a question of, we're now going to find out if it's, this lip is bollocks or whether it's the bollocks. It's very delicate. We're working with French.
Very delicate bollocks.
And I think I'm pretty lucky because there are not many, so so crazy, but as well at the same time so well constructed. There's a link to everything, so I like that. So it's mad, but it makes sense in it. There is a logic in the madness.
Are we? All right.
So nipple ring out.
I'll just have a bit of padding. Yeah. Bit of a feel up more like. You all right, Simon?
Yes, of course I'm all right.
Stand by to shoot, please. You can feel it. Versatility.
Bang. And bang. How's that? Is that her? Bang.
It was bizarrely relaxing in a way because I was on this kind of rig in bed and the rig was moulded to my body, so I was totally comfortable. And of course the nipple was prosthetic. I keep wanting to ask them questions about stuff I've seen of theirs, over the years, and what happened here, and what, when you did this episode of The Young Ones, what happened there. But I try not to. I have done that.
Thank you, darling. Mwah. Ooh. Yes, probably tomorrow.
Doing the same scene, probably.
I'm playing Mrs. Foxfur, who's a kind of deranged creature who's the only permanent resident of this truly terrible place.
Number one's the pub car park. This is seen outside most pubs in and around London. And this is a very lager, watery sick with a few bits of kebab in there. You've got number three, I think we decided was a korma. We're quite proud of those bits of tomato. Can you see? Radioactive green, radioactive pink, which are quite jokey. And then you've got a very watery, biley sick. That's when you're really retching your guts up. Number 7 was a bit of a joke sick, large bits of carrot, as you can see. And number 8 was sort of madras. And number 9's today's special, which we'll be using a lot of. Yeah, this is medium chunder. Thank you.
So you can get a straight stream of vomit, you can get a spray out stream of vomit, you can get that angle. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, I know that when I was little, I used to have aunties who told me that it was never a good idea to eat fish out.
How ill?
Well, I would say upchuckingly ill. Vomitoriously ill, and certainly green-skinned ill. Oh, I don't feel well.
very strange in the beginning. Vincent was doing things which were really, how do you say, natural.
Stop!
They were so real that the first time I got, oh, my own stomach was going a bit wobbly, and then you get used to it.
You do a couple like that. And then,
Get all over him.
yeah, we'll get it all over him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't see anything through that door other than vomit coming at us.
Why has Adrian got a larger suitcase than me? It's just fucking intolerable.
You just bring that bit there around the corner, that's it.
The trickiest thing is undoubtedly the vomit sequence, but it was a kind of trying week in the vomit corridor because it was a bloody mess, and it was, you know, a lot of stuff.
3, 2, 1, vomit!
Oh, I see. That's
That's very high tech.
So we're trying to keep his clothes dry, really, not his head.
Oh, sorry.
Ruined your hair.
Shit! 1, 2, 3, 4, go!
We spent 5 days in the vomit corridor now, and it's fantastically disgusting. It's just awash with it. There's so much vomit in the corridor, in the hotel corridor, that it's called, it has various names. It's called the corridor, then it's called the vomit corridor, then it's called the vomit grotto, and then it's called the vomitorium, when it gets really dripping with it.
And I thought, well, what's the matter with me? You know, why did I think I couldn't stand it? It's really because I'd been desensitized by watching a lot of episodes of Casualty.
Welcome to hell, guys. This is hell, and we're really loving it.
Yes. Well, there is. But then, of course, if you watch several takes, you know, it seems like much more.
Because I wear these groovy shoes, I have fallen over more than anyone else.
Turn.
It was inevitable.
Hopefully this one will succeed and they'll let us make another one, you know. I've really had a good time doing it, and I mean, it's nice being a jack of all trades, but I like this job at the moment and I'd like to keep it.
It's been good.
Yeah.
All the scenes with me in have been fantastic. 1 or 2 scenes have not had me in, so I hope they'll be lost in editing. But they could ruin the film, scenes without me. But I generally think the majority of the scenes have me in it, so the film is a hit. Simple as that.
So hurry, hurry, buy your tickets and I can buy more houses. I mean, give more to charity. That'll work, won't it?